So the first question is, as a mid-30s, up-and-coming leader, and I like the fact that he or she is saying, I'm up and coming, baby. You know what I mean? I like that.
Yeah,
that's got a little bit of, okay, I like that.
Yeah.
How can I continue to advance? So it's a little open-ended here, so let's give some advancing up the ladder advice. What say you, Daniel Tardy?
Sure. Well, I'm barely out of my mid-30s, so I'm not sure I'm a master on this.
I
would actually change the timeline and go, regardless of your age, there are seasons in leadership. And your early seasons in leadership, you're getting paid a lot for what you do, productivity and getting results. And then after 5 to 7 years of really learning how to master that, having some notches on your belt, having some mantles on the wall, as it were, you go, okay, I can get stuff done. The next test is, can you get paid for what you know? Not just what you do, but can you know how to do things in a way you teach other people to do it? Now you're really leading. And then the third phase, the kind of the mastery phase, is getting paid for who you grow. And so a lot of leaders, they start getting their feet wet in the 20s. In the 30s, you're getting paid for what you know. But my challenge to a mid-30s, late 30s leader who's wanting to continue to advance and grow themselves, the really cool thing is you can find people who you're growing and pouring into and mentoring in this season of life. It's weird to be a mentor at 27. Like, no one really wants a 27-year-old mentor. You know, there's just something about seasons in life where you go, I want my mentor to be 40-ish, maybe 50, even older. And so you're starting to think in your mid to late 30s about, am I becoming a mentor? And is my energy more focused on who I'm growing, not just what do I do? I got the trophies. Now I need to help other people get trophies. I'm stepping off the field and putting the headset on and calling plays to the people out on the field, as it were.
Yeah. I love that advice. The only thing I would put in there is something I think that it's very easy for all of us to forget. If the goal is to advance, and by advance meaning move closer and closer to full maximization of your potential, that's what I see advancing as. I come back to something I learned from my chiropractor. When stretching my legs or my lower back, it's resistance. And you have got to put some strategic resistance in your life. And so what I mean by that is there's this form of stretching where they'll push back for a little bit, and they'll say, now you resist. And as I'm resisting, pushing back, and the chiropractor is pushing in, then he says, relax. And then all of a sudden, I can stretch more.
Right.
So I'm using this as a loose analogy of, if you want to grow, it's all about stretching your capacity to grow.
Absolutely.
So there's going to get to a point for all of us, even for you and I, or anybody that's doing work that they would consider their dream job, and you and I are both there. I'm still in a place right now where I've got to continually make sure that I expand my capacity, because if I fill up and then I'm starting to hit a lid, well, how do I advance when I've hit my lid at each level?
Right, we're going to plateau.
I got to stretch my capacity. I got to make room.
Dude.
And you've got to put resistance in the
love
form
that you're bringing
of
that in.
Challenge and
Absolutely.
growth.
And the one thing I'm thinking about as you're saying that is, there is this thing, the higher up you go, the harder it is to find. You have to seek out. So we talk about just the metaphor of weightlifting and adding 20-pound weights. If you can bench press 80 pounds right now, stick 20 more pounds on, and over time you can bench press 100. Stick more weight on, you can bench 120. You can, in leadership, get up to 200 pounds. And then you go, man, I'm stronger than most people in the gym. And that's where most people stay, because they compare themselves to where they've come from, not what they're capable of. And it does get harder to find 20-pound plates when you're maxing out higher than anybody around you. So you got to seek that out. You got to go, where am I going to, like you said, strategic resistance. That means you're intentional to seek out mentors in your life, accountability in your life, maybe a coach that's going to push you. It's maybe a counselor.
Greater challenges.
That's right.
Like,
it's no longer just read a book. It's you got to expose yourself to the heat so that you grow as a leader to that next level. And that's more accessible down in the ranks, because there's just more heat. But once you kind of get to the quote-unquote top, that's where you see leaders start to get lazy and they fall off, because they've lost that resistance, right?
That's exactly right. And you've hit a lid. So remember this, if you want to advance, you're going to have to also not just achieve. I think we see achievement. It's not just that. You're going to actually have to fail strategically. And that's what I mean by stretching your capacity for you to continue to grow and learn. Because again, remember this, growing is the result of trying and failing, right? Like, there just is no growth without some type of trying and some type of failure, so that we can then go, oh, all right, I put myself out there and I can do this. So there you go. Okay, how to overcome the imposter syndrome. This is an interesting question for me, Daniel. I don't know where I'm going to go with this, because I want you to answer first, because I get a little irritated when I hear this question, and I'll explain why.
Okay. Well, what I hear, and maybe I'm just projecting this into the question, but I think about the idea of transparency and authenticity as leaders. Nobody wants you to fake it, but we have this temptation to know everything. And as leaders, we go, I got to have all the answers or no one's going to give me any respect. I have to know what I'm doing. I have to perform, watch my activity, watch how well I can lead the meeting. And we kind of start acting a little bit outside of our integrity even. Like we go beyond what we're actually really feeling like we know, and we're posturing. And I've done that, man. I've felt that pressure of like the team's not going to follow me if I don't make decisions and come in as the guy that knows what's going on. And the thing that I've learned through a lot of great feedback from people I trust that have been in those meetings, they're like, hey, we can tell you're faking it. They just go, hey, it's okay to say I don't know. It's okay for you to say, guys, I don't know what to do here. You don't have to give up your leadership card when you say I don't know. You can say, look, let's figure this out together. Let's find somebody that's smarter than us and bring them in. A leader's best thing that they can do is create an environment where the right people are in the room having the right conversation, not come in and know all the answers. And so when I hear imposter syndrome, I hear somebody that's stuck in their own head thinking they have to be smart and that's what leadership is. Leadership is not being the smartest person. It's being the first one to say, I'm willing to bring us together and say, we're going to work on this challenge together. And I might not know more than you guys do. I just know we need to have this discussion and we're going to have it.
Yeah, I think that's really good. The only thing I'll say on this is I've heard this and I've heard different contexts for this. And I'm just going to be really, really, really frank right now. If you need to stop thinking about being an imposter, the very act of thinking, am I an imposter? Are people going to perceive me this way? It's the complete wrong mindset. And I'm going to go as far as to say that the minute you start thinking and worrying about that, you need to immediately shut it down. I don't think it does you any good to analyze it. I don't think it does you any good to worry about it. I think if you just focus on being you, and Daniel really touched on this, which is just be open and honest. And if you're a leader and you don't have the answer, have the guts to call some people on your team and go, here's the deal. These things are something that we're going to have to deal with. It's on me to make a decision. And right now, I'm unsure about this, this, and this. Curious, what do you think? That type of owning a situation and just being you and being the best that you can be, knowing that if you make the wrong decision, it's not fatal. And so I get a little irritated, and it's like I feel like we're bubble wrapping.
Yeah.
And I understand the spirit of the question, but here's my point. I'm trying to free your soul right now. To say, hey, stop worrying about something that, quite frankly, you shouldn't be worrying about unless you are intentionally putting yourself out there as a fake or a charlatan. Now, that's different. But I know that that's not where the spirit of this question is coming from, and I also know that that's not where the spirit of the phrase is coming from.
Look, man, if you'll stay curious, if you'll ask 1,000 questions a day, you'll become a leader. You will lead. Yeah. If you're going, I don't get it, help me understand. Hey, I heard this over here, it doesn't seem to reconcile with that. Help me make sense of it. That's what great leaders do. They're always just asking questions. You stay curious, you stay humble. You stay humble, the team respects you. The team respects you, they'll follow you, and you're a leader.
That's it.